All right, greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the bi-weekly show, the podcast, the one and only podcast, Speak to the Mic. I am your host, Marlon Joseph, here to bring to you some insight on what's going on from a educational standpoint in our communities, preferably in the Black communities. Joining me today is my panel guest today. I have two brothers, two very near and dear brothers of mine personally, who are obviously both members of the same noble clan that I definitely appreciate and represent to the fullest. That is KA Sci-Fi New Pi, just in case you all didn't know. I don't have to tell you that we're the greatest fraternity in the world because it's already stated. That's understood. Joining me today is a brother from Chicago, Chris Cater, who is, make sure I get his title right because he deserves all the recognition there is possible. He's a community engagement associate / educator and a director of the community programs for the Urban Prep Academies in Chicago. Joining me also is my brother Bernard Grace, who is a high school educator at Towers High School here in the Atlanta area. He's also doing a lot of tremendous things in leadership in the educational field as well here in the Atlanta area. And joining me later would be Amia Boykins, who's actually a parent as well as a project manager here in the Atlanta area, and obviously have a lot of different questions and some insight from a parental standpoint, just how she feels and what's as pertains to what's going on in the communities as we are underway with the reopening of schools during the pandemic. And so before I go any further, I just want to make sure that I recognize also another Black business that I purchased, another Black business owned shirt from. As you can all see, this is Blame Society, which I think that's pretty self-explanatory given the fact that society has put us in a situation to begin with, along with other situations that we're dealing with. So on this podcast, not only do I show appreciation and recognition to those who are in the trenches doing their things from a professional standpoint and making an impact in the Black community, but I'm also a huge advocate of being a Black-owned business supporter. And so putting my Black dollars to where they would be most needed and appreciated. And so I'll be able to provide the link to the company that obviously I purchased this shirt from. This is free advertisement. Like I said in my previous episodes, I'm here to actually pay full price for my merchandise from Black businesses and entrepreneurs because I believe in supporting them and making sure that we put our Black dollars where they're most appreciated. All right, now that we got all of the greetings and all that good stuff underway, I want to get to it. So thinking about the reopening of these schools across America during this pandemic, a lot of different questions come to mind, but I want to start with you, Chris. How concerned are you about kids going back to school during this time, during this pandemic?
Well, first and foremost, Marlon, I'm extremely grateful to be able to be a part of your, podcast today. And shout out to the notes too. But as a former educator at Urban Prep Academies in Chicago and, now community engagement associate with the Obama Foundation, I get the opportunity to talk to a lot of principals on the South and West Side about, like what way they're trying to approach what's going on right now. And a lot of principals, administrators, teachers have huge concerns, right? Obviously, the first one is safety. Safety for the young person and safety for the teachers. Being at Urban Prep Academies where our young men had to wear the blazers, every day. That was a struggle to keep them with the blazers on. So imagine, having to have young people with these masks on every single day, right? Yeah. Ultimately, in Chicago, I think there's another added layer to this as well. Thinking about our young people's safety inside the brick and mortar, but also outside, right? So far this year, we've had almost 240 young people shot under the age of 17 this year, right? So we know how significant school is. We know that, our young people not only get their food there, but for a lot of our young people, it's their shelter, right? That's what they, are able to do what makes them most happy, and that's when they kind of find out who they are and what their interests are. But right now, it's just not the time. And I think, unfortunately, it seems like we wasted a lot of time preparing to do in-person stuff until 2 weeks ago we said, oh, we're not going to do that. So now we're having to shift. Obviously, I think the biggest divide we see in Chicago, and I'm sure probably around the country, is that technology divide, right?
Absolutely.
Some of our young people don't have access to computers. Some people don't have access to internet. And if I have brothers and sisters, if we only have one computer or a tablet for the entire home, like how does that work, right? So I know for CPS, they are scrambling right now to try to make sure that every kid, has access to technology and has access to the internet. So we haven't even announced like what day of school we start yet, just because they're trying to figure all this stuff out quick. And it's tough.
Yeah, and to that point, there are a lot of school districts that I'm learning about that haven't announced that their actual start date when physically coming back to schools. Now, granted, there are some that already started, mostly in the South for the most part. Obviously, the northern states, they obviously would start later in the year anyway. So like after Labor Day for the most part, especially in Chicago. But even from a private school standpoint, from a charter school standpoint, I know that you all have different rules, but some of them are pretty much in conjunction to what public schools are actually dealing with too. And so even thinking about how much our students just outside of school don't have not even just the laptops and computers, but don't even have Wi-Fi. You know what I mean? That's a huge issue that the states are going to have to pretty much grant them access to that throughout the year in order for them to accurately and adequately do their work virtually. But that's going to be an issue that's ongoing, and just trying to just basically figure out how to best handle that and manage that, because monitoring kids on computers, obviously, we all know how how short the attention span of a child is, especially when you're talking about either preteens or teenagers. Their minds are somewhere far out, completely deviated from education, that they're not really completely focused on this particular matter. So it's a double-edged sword when you think about the number of issues that we're having to deal with, but we're not making it any better from a political standpoint with not having all these different precautionary measures in place in order to safely bring kids back gradually. But I mean, that's something, again, that's something that's going to be ongoing and we're going to discuss. Now, Bernard, from your standpoint, give us some insight on what it is that you're seeing. How concerned are you about kids going back to school, especially here in the Atlanta area?
Thank you, man. I am once again also happy to be on the podcast. I'm excited about it. I love podcasts. I'm a big listener. I've subscribed to you, so this is good stuff.
I appreciate that.
I am, extremely concerned, to say the least, either way, because you got people going. My district, particularly DeKalb County, we are online, which that is the safest bet. However, it's not the safest bet.
Yeah.
Because it's the safest bet health-wise, but it's not the safest bet learning-wise. It's the safest bet, with safety between student and student, but it's not the safest bet when it comes to, what kind of household they live in and what's going on in their household. Like Chris said, they get food from the schools sometimes. That's their only meal. Now, fortunately, we're structuring it so that the bus routes are going to take on the lunch delivery system for the cab and Gwinnett. So that's cool. I think that's actually vital, man. But that social emotional learning, learning from friends, man, that's crucial. And
it is.
I think either way we're gonna lose out. It's sad to say. The kids that go back, oh my God, I don't even know what to say to that. I mean, because I'm really worried about the older teachers in the building, those buildings and stuff. Oh my Jesus, so we got tough decisions to make.
Yeah, and I've said this too, that the unfortunate and inevitable fact that's going to take place in the next couple of months for those who have still opened up, despite the medical experts strongly advising not to open up right now, or at least condense your classrooms to 15 students or less, because that's what, according to CDC website, they actually strongly recommend that classrooms are at least 15 kids or less. Now, given that most of these schools are still opening up their schools to the masses, the most inevitable fact that's going to take place in the upcoming months is kids are going to die, parents are going to die, guardians, older relatives are going to die, staff members are going to die as well. And it's going to take those particular situations to happen in order for these damn politicians to wake the hell up and say, you know what, we opened up too early. See, the problem that I have with society, which is the main reason why I'm wearing this damn shirt, is that we're more reactive than proactive. We only give a damn when the damn is given back to us to give. And that's the biggest issue that I have with what we're dealing with right now. It's not so much as the virus itself, because obviously we've had viruses in the past that have come up, but we had a better handle on it. It's the lack of leadership, it's the lack of handling, and it's the lack of care in regards to the response to this virus that's been the biggest culprit of the matter. It hadn't been the virus itself. It's how we've been responding to it. And I'm not just going to point my finger to just politicians. I'm pointing my finger to every damn body else, all the civilians, all the citizens of this country who are sitting here and saying, well, it's against the law to tell me to wear a mask. We're sitting here trying to protect you from you. Makes entirely no damn sense whatsoever. And so from that standpoint, I get so infuriated with the fact that we're so rebellious, we're so selfish. Everybody is for themselves. Oh, I'm making my decisions for me. No, here's the problem with that. The fact that your decision affects not only just you, but everybody else around you. So your problem is my damn problem. My problem is your damn problem. Until we get out of this situation, we are each other's problem. So we have a better handle on this, because we're the greatest country in the world. I'm gonna keep saying that. I'm gonna keep bringing that being facetious about that, because clearly we always find so much time to tell everybody we're the greatest country in the world without any damn definitive proof of it. But we sit up here and say that, and then show we don't even have a handle on the very virus that all these other countries seem to pretty much have a handle on from this standpoint. So joining us again, thank you, Mia, for joining us. I know you had some technical difficulties. I just wanted to give you a chance to kind of chime in on the discussion as well. First question I asked was, how concerned are you about kids returning to schools, knowing that there's a pandemic, and then knowing flu season is a month or two away?
You talking to me?
Yes.
I'm sorry. So going back to school is not the answer. My school district, I can say, and I feel like is probably like the standard that people should be following at this time. So what they did was they tried to follow what the rules were around them, and they presented the notion of going back to school and also having the option to go online. And that was my first choice. My kids aren't going back to school because kids aren't responsible. I've seen memes fly around that said that your kid gonna go to school with a Mickey Mouse mask and gonna come back with a Darkwing Duck mask, so kids are not ready for this. So
no, they're not.
But I believe that the standard of return and how to operate during this pandemic has happened in Marietta City Schools. Grant Rivera has been really in control and on top of this situation from the beginning. I can appreciate the fact that he considered the demographic that he was catering to. There are some areas where people are affluent and some that were not. What they did was they gave kids Chromebooks who needed them. They also offered hotspots, and even in places where the internet was low and they didn't have the capability to access their work, they set up school buses in those areas with hotspots. They also presented lunches and breakfasts at the bus stops for those kids. And with some other charities, they've been able to deliver boxes to families every week in the school district. Aside of that was the tone of the teachers when they had to report back to school online starting last semester. I can appreciate why I was able to listen to my kids, teachers or instructors online. I'm not sure that's how they talk to them in class, but they were very understanding of this situation. My kids still continued in PE. They still continued in music classes. And they made the best of what they could last year. So how do we go back in this year? The answer is not to return back to school. But I also did some research. I looked up some things online, and one of the very good articles that I came across was something from UNICEF, and it's across the world, so it's international, about how we should return back. Because like you just stated, the United States is not the standard right now. Other people are way more prepared for us to return back to schools, but if we should do it, how should it happen? And I wrote down a couple of notes. So one of the things that we should consider, and one of our school districts actually has only briefly, is don't be so full of yourself when you think that you're ready to go back. If you go back and things are not safe, close it back up.
Yeah.
That's one of the first things that I think is very important, because you think you're leading the charge, you're the one ahead of the game, and you mess it all up for everybody in your school district, for all of the students, all of the teachers, and you just don't want to go back because of pride. Go back. It's okay to close the schools back up.
Yeah.
And then how to do it. So when we saw this school district that was mentioned nationwide from Georgia, where these kids were in the hallway, where they said they was taken out of context. If you saw kids in the hallway with no mask on and the hallway was crowded, that was perfect context. Because what they tried to come back with was that some of the hallways are only one way, and it's like this sometimes, but it only took that one interchange where we saw that picture to explain what was going on and what was happening in that school district, and how many people can actually be affected by this. And then they don't only just happen in the school. People are not just affected by what's going on in the school. They're also taking this back home. They got mothers, fathers, they got other siblings. Other school districts or other schools, like the elementary school, might have handled it differently. But now this high school student is coming back and affecting their kindergarten brother. So that was an issue. So this is some of the things that UNICEF suggested about how to actually do this. And I don't think that anybody in Georgia considered this at all, but staggered starts. Staggered starts. So you already staggered the elementary, middle school, high school. The idea and structure that they're saying is, even throughout that particular school, you stagger the starts. That means that there's less kids in the hallway at each time. They also talked about using temporary outdoor space. This is Georgia. It's pretty warm or whatever, but if you can have outdoor space and kids are actually spaced apart, then that's safer than them being huddled in a hallway. Using staff in shifts, because we're not just concerned about the students, we're also concerned about the staff. And I've also heard about options to switch the teachers, which they do in other countries and always kind of have. Actually heard in Haiti, the students don't move, and this is before the pandemic, the instructors move, which makes a lot more sense because you have adults moving in a safe space instead of children rushing into a space, and you have to try and control that. They also talked about hygiene stations. One thing that I can say, because me and you have gone back and forth about this, but I have traveled during the pandemic. But one of the things that I saw in Georgia, in Atlanta, is that they actually had hygiene stations where the bathrooms were clear. The hand sanitizing stations were clear. When I came back from Los Angeles, even though I feel like Los Angeles is handling it overall better, their airport was not clear.
California is still closed too, so keep that in mind.
California is still closed, but what is closed? That's the answer. When we talk about what closed is in America versus what was closed is in other countries that are opening back up, we never closed.
It looks a lot different when you think about it in the grand scheme of things. So obviously the different countries who have actually closed their borders to Americans, prevent them from traveling to those other countries. And honestly, I feel like every country at this particular point in time should be closing their borders, especially Mexico, despite all the different disparaging things that this idiot in office has been saying about them. That would have been the first damn country, at least to my understanding, that should have closed their borders to Americans, saying, you know what?
They have.
No, we're not going
I mean, some
I'm still seeing
have.
people traveling to Cancun, to Cozumel, to I think it's another one called Tulum, Mexico. So I'm still seeing Americans still taking their asses down there, despite, other countries saying, you know what, we don't need Americans here right now. We obviously have the resources for our citizens to be able to be tested and making sure that they're safe and their negative results are coming back. But we don't have enough bandwidth and resources to be testing Americans who come here for vacations. What the hell are we vacationing for right now? There is nothing to celebrate right now. It's not. I'm gonna stand firm on that. And you and I have had that discussion, on social media in the past. And granted, I do think that some of my words have gotten lost in context. So I'm gonna clear this up for everyone who's listening. For one, it's not about the people who are taking the precautionary steps to stay safe and socially distance and wearing a mask. I'm concerned about the amount of people who are not doing these things. It's only a handful of us who are actually out here wearing masks, and I've seen this on a day-to-day basis, where opposed to those who aren't wearing it, saying just want to rebel against the system, the man telling them, oh, you can't tell me to wear a mask. I don't have to wear a mask. My doctor's note says that I have respiratory issues. There's no damn doctor excuse
We already
in the
know
world.
what that's about. We know what that's about. America, in real life, we can say that we the home of the free and the land of the brave, whatever.
What does that even mean?
We don't need to be so free right now. Right now, we are, like one of my friends, I'm very close to some of my Haitian friends, and they said, see, this is what your Americans' problems stem from.
I said that, because I say it all the time now.
Right, because they said, first of all, the first response is at home. Your parents should say, if you got to go out, put on a mask. So you put a mask on and you go out. So then when you go to school and you show up and you don't have a mask, you need to put a mask on before you can come into this establishment, and you need to get your temperature checked. If that's what the rules are, you have to follow the rules or you're going to get kicked out. But Americans are so concerned about their rights being violated. But what they don't understand is that your rights end where the next person's begin.
Absolutely. I'm glad you say that. So I want to go ahead and put a pin in that and ask this next question to you guys, because I'm really concerned about this. So, Chris, I want to get to you first. Has there been any precautions or precautionary steps that have been specified to you at your school? And if so, what are those precautionary steps?
So
my school district, the first step was to stay at home. But go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Okay. It's all right. It's all right, man.
And that's a good one too. Let me just say that. But obviously, there were a lot of things still being worked out, from CPS all the way down to a lot of the schools. Obviously, the gloves and the mask and the sanitizer, but there was still so much uncertainty though. We didn't know. Now, obviously, at the Inglewood campus, it's a lot bigger, right? Because, Team Inglewood is on the other side. So, they could probably spread folks out because we have such a big building. But, I mean, imagine if you don't have the bandwidth to do that, right? Like, I think the average class size of CPS is, over 30, right? So if you got a packed school like that, how would you set that up? Now, I know originally it was supposed to be K through sophomores would go to school, several times a week. I think like once or twice a week, and then they could do the rest online. And juniors and seniors would just be, online for the rest of the year. But obviously, as we got closer to finalizing those dates and things like that, they just, they went away with it and said everybody will be online for, at least the viable future, probably definitely through the first semester, probably through the 2020. So yeah, it's just a lot of uncertainty right now. And I think one of the things that I really am concerned about, specifically for our ninth graders, right, around the city. You think about those eighth graders who haven't been in the school since March, right? Because, like in Chicago, we literally shut Chicago down for several months. Like we took the deep dive and kind of paused everything. So for those, eighth graders that have not, didn't get the whole year of experience, now they're not going to physically go into a school for the year. I mean, I think the learning curve is about to be so huge in the Black and brown community. And I'm really concerned. I mean, even if you do have the technology and you do have the internet access, what if my mom doesn't, know how to help me with the homework? Or what if I don't know how to do it? What if I'm a diverse learner? So it's so many different things that I think they are trying to work through right now. I mean, this is the city in general. One good thing that has come out of it's been a lot of cross-school collaboration. A lot of people, unfortunately in our city, really literally just work on what they got going. But now it has required everybody to lean on each other to talk about best practices. So obviously, I think after next week or no later than the end of the month, we will know what things will look like moving forward.
Yeah, and you know what? Before I ask you this question, Bernard, too, I want to get your thoughts on it as well. But to piggyback off what you said, Chris. So obviously, we're dealing with multiple double-edged swords, right? So you're telling me this is what's fascinating to me in the worst damn way possible. So in March, we closed the schools down when there was 5 to 10, maybe 20 cases a day, right? You're telling our damn kids that over 1,000 cases a day, they're going back into it. How much damn sense does that make? It makes entirely no sense, especially given the fact that you have no set plans across the board. It may be one school district that may have more plans than the others, but the entire damn country as a whole, we're supposed to have one concrete plan that everyone consistently sticks with. And we still don't even have that yet because we're stuck on stupid with so many of these damn politicians and superintendents in these particular offices and positions saying, well, you know what, we're going to do this our way, they're going to do this their way. This is literally the divided states of America. Because you have one state saying we're going to reclose, another state saying we're going to reopen, another one sitting up here saying, well, you know what, do whatever it is you feel like you should do for you. What the hell kind of statement is that to make as a damn governor? I'm gonna get on Governor DeSantis for a second because Florida it's obviously a cesspool. The state of Florida itself, they actually literally said on the news that if you take Florida out of the United States, it can be its own country, and it's number 3 in the world when it comes to the amount of cases per day. That makes entirely no damn sense at all. And you're gonna sit up here and tell, and I've read on Florida's website when they were talking about just the different things that they're trying to put in place, they're leaving it up to the parents in a lot of cases to say, well, listen, mom, dad, if you feel like your son or daughter should go back to school, then do it at your own risk. Now, on top of that, yeah, go ahead, man, you can.
I'm gonna speak to that as a mother. I have 2 daughters who are now able to stay at home if I was out at work. I'm currently not out at work, but I understand the weight of that on a parent and the pressure for a parent to say, okay, well,
it's too much pressure. They've been appointed in these positions to make the decisions for you in that regard.
See, that's the point that I was about to make is that
this is their job.
You have the people who are in power saying that, well, it's okay. It doesn't hurt kids that bad. Your kid is going to be okay. We're going to take care of your kid. And I have been literally in a situation where my babysitter said that this is just as simple as it can be. My babysitter said, I can't keep the baby today. And now I have to, and I had a project due, and how detrimental that felt to me in that moment. So understand. So this is the other side of it, is understand how it feels to parents who have to go to work to provide, but then it's like you're forced to put your kid at risk to do so. And it's also leaning on the word of the people who are supposed to be there to set the rules and guidelines, who are just saying, it doesn't matter, my kid isn't involved.
Question, Bernard. So what precautions have you been hearing about as it pertains to even just as teachers, for students, for staff members, the whole 9? What precautions have even been articulated to you all?
Well, you know what? I'm glad we finally just stopped playing and we're honest with ourselves and said we're going online, because honestly, they weren't going to put the precautions in place nor enforce them enough to say that we're within CDC guidelines. Because see, if you say 10 to 15 per class, you multiplying your budget times 10, because you need probably, 20, 30 extra teachers in the building if you're going to put 15 people per class, because you know you got 35. Like, let's stop playing. You know you got 35 in the class. So if we say we're going to do CDC guidelines in return, that means you got to double the manpower. And if you're not going to put your money where your mouth is, let's just stop playing and just go online, because that's about the best y'all. You're not going to sanitize the place because you're not going to hire professional to come out and with the machines, to do the whole deal. You're going to tell your custodial staff that's already in the building to take an extra wipe down to those lockers, go back down it. It's those kind of Jimmy rig stuff that really piss me off too, because like, how are you going to tell us to come back, but you gave us no more money? We have no more money to come back. Like, if we can come back, but you're going to have to double the teacher size, double the manpower, double the custodial staff. Then maybe we can all consider it. But, hey, let's just go online, because we're not going to do that.
And you know what, even from the online standpoint, obviously another double-edged sword to have to take into account is that Chris made this point earlier about how the lack of ability to be able to help your students or help your kids with the homework. If the student don't know themselves how to figure it out, how to do it, there needs to be a online and active tutor on there waiting and just available to any student that needs help. And so that's another added piece that needs to be considered in terms of when you're putting together a budgetary plan that's going to consist of just an adequate way to help students virtually to be able to learn. Because the hardest part, I think, to me, with monitoring the virtual learning aspect of it is to see if your student themselves are the ones who are doing the damn homework, because they can have somebody else just come in, log in, do it for them, get it right, get it wrong, whatever. And now we're sitting here, we're basically dealing with a virtual No Child Left Behind act, if you will, because we knew when Bush put that in place, that was to basically just let kids pass on regardless of how well or how bad they did in the classroom. Now we're going to do the same exact thing. Those same rules are going to apply when in regards to virtual learning. And so we're having so many different issues to deal with that they're not taking enough time to iron this stuff out and say, okay, let's look at it from a pro and con perspective. Everything, we need to consider everything right now before even getting to a place where we can announce, oh, okay, this is the day we're going to reopen the school back up. So
we're too proud to take guidance and leadership from somewhere else. So
in lack of a better word, proud. Yeah, you're right. I'm gonna say ignorant, but you can say proud. That's fine.
It goes the same. But there are also some other opportunities that are here, and I can speak on them personally. Is that I had college students reaching out to my daughters during this whole situation, and they would get special credit for tutoring opportunities, and they would sit in on the class, listen to what was going on, and be able to help them individually. These are opportunities that are out there, and these are things that can happen, but I don't know if every school district is really looking into it, because what I try to do is share what my school district is doing and what's great about mine. And this is how we get the information shared, so you can start picking up, and people say, well, we didn't think about that. But there's some other things that are going on as well. Is what are the schools doing to deal with the kids' mental health during this situation as well?
That's another monkey wrench thrown in that equation. That's something that has to be.
So from the Chicago perspective, like I said, we've had about 250 young people shot, 17 and younger, since January, it's been really, like Marlon, we talk about like 1990s, early 1980s, like with the numbers, we're well over 500 homicides already, and we got 5 more months to go. But one thing that I've heard people talking about is that before they teach anything, though, they are going to consider having like the first week or second week just be to get to know or get to hear from our young people about like what they have been experiencing, what's been going on. Like, have you lost somebody? Have you been hurt? Have you been shot? Right. So I think before we can, especially in Chicago, before we can teach anything or, go into any curriculum, any lesson, they have to check the pulse of our young people, because literally with them not being able to go into them brick and mortar buildings every day, they are targets. We had a 12-year-old shot yesterday from leaving the basketball court. And, I've been to 2 funerals for kids under the age of 10 in July, right? So it is rough up this way. And again, around the country, not just here, but I do think that they are aware, and they are going to put something in place where they have to just be open to listening to what's going on before they teach anything.
And you know what, from that point too, yeah, you can go ahead, Bernard. Yeah, go ahead.
If you don't mind me piggybacking off of what Chris was saying with the
Yeah.
mental health, I'll just share this quick little thing. My son, who is 4 years old, he's been out since March as well. Now that's about to change because he's in pre-K. It's one little classroom. I ain't worried about that. They ain't even going into a building, so I'm not
Yeah.
worried about that as much. Still risk, but I'm not as worried. All right, but however, he hadn't been in school since March, and he's seeing me on the computer every day, online with these kids from March to May. All right.
Yeah.
Now he got a break from June, July. Now he's starting to see me on the computer again. Yesterday, after we came from outside, this joker ran in there and hit my computer. I mean, he just was hitting it. And I was like freaked out. And my wife was like, don't whoop him. And I'm still recovering. I'm using a different laptop today. And I knew what it was. You know what I mean? You know I'm going with this, Marlon.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Having smaller ones definitely, they push your buttons, man. Figuratively and literally.
Listen, he didn't know how to express it, but internally he was dealing with mechanisms that was like, my daddy's attention is divided now. And it's something about this machine that he's always engaged in that's taken away from our playtime. A 4-year-old.
My God, man. It's unfortunate that, again, to your point, both you and Bernard, Chris, in regards to just the overall mental psyche of our students with everyday things they have to deal with already, on top of not being able to go to school, on top of the violences around their neighborhoods, on top of police brutality. It's literally exhausting to wake up every damn day being a Black person. It's like, damn, what break do we ever get? Do we get a long enough break from just any damn thing? And it's just more and more shit just being added to the list of things that we need breaks from. It's just, again, it's so unfortunate, man. And my heart hurts for this generation of kids with so much that they're dealing with, regardless of what city that they're living in, right? So obviously, knowing that their attention spans are the size of a pin top, they have to be engaging with each other in order to kind of just shy away from everything else that's affecting them. And the fact that they can't do that right now, that within itself is a very unfortunate situation to have to deal with, whether you are, again, teenagers or even little kids, because my wife and I had to kind of make that ultimate decision to allow my daughter to go back to daycare, with the understanding that they were obviously conditioning and making sure they were sanitizing the areas, making sure they were cleaning the kids' hands, and even they took the amount of students they were having in the daycare, they shortened that list up. So now it was only maybe 8 to 10 kids in there per day now, to make sure that everyone is, taking those precautions. But I don't even know how to even describe it in one damn word. But I want to know, Amia, from you first, what are you hearing from, because I feel like, before I even ask this question, I want to say teachers aren't giving enough recognition already. They're not giving enough concern already. And on top of that, they're having to spend money out of their own pockets to do what they can for their kids. Teachers on an everyday basis, and I can speak to this from personal experience, being in the education field years ago, and I used to live in Memphis as a reading specialist for third, fourth, and fifth grade kids. I saw the politics in education. I saw, from a parental standpoint, I saw the level of care or lack of care that the parents have for their own kids. Teachers on an every damn day basis are asked to part the Red Sea without a damn staff. And I think that is so unfair, and it's so unfortunate that they're asked to do so much more in the 7.5 to 8 hour span that parents aren't being asked to do the rest of the damn day, the other 16 hours throughout the damn day. And it's like they just dump them on these teachers to say, oh, do all this, do what you can, but only to try to take credit for the shit later. When they graduate, if they graduate, now, oh, this is my baby, my this, my that. What were you doing to help them, though, throughout this entire time? Nothing I can speak to, because I saw what you were doing. I saw kids coming to school at 10:30 in the morning. School started at 7:15, 7:30, or 8 o'clock in some cases. Why are you just not getting here almost 3-4 hours later? One child told me, well, my grandma didn't feel like waking me up I didn't know what to say to him when he told me that. I was just so flabbergasted at the fact that a parent or guardian, if you will, would say something that's stupid to a child, knowing that they need education. Education is supposed to be the most important thing to these kids. They shouldn't be put in adult situations at such an early age. And so many of our kids have been put in those situations far too damn much. And so getting back to the point, the question I wanted to ask Mia, what are you hearing from teachers, if you had any talks with teachers in regards to their reactions to the opening of schools? Because we're obviously seeing some of the school districts are doing the virtual learning, but yet teachers are still being told they have to physically be present in the buildings though. It makes entirely no damn sense. You want me to teach an online class in the damn building when I can just do it at home too? That makes no sense to me at all.
So I have a lot of educator friends,
Yeah.
from the top to the bottom. So what I am hearing is that they still love the students. They still care for the students, but they got kids and they got families and everything at home as well.
Absolutely.
So returning back to the classroom puts their lives, in jeopardy, and they're not ready to do that. Some of them have stated, I've seen where people are saying we need to write our final will and testament. So they're just like, all right, I'm gonna go, but I might die, and this is what need to happen. And then I've also seen where, we should all make a movement together and say that we're not. But that's the problem is, especially in America, we're too vast. We're not gonna make a collective movement to make any of that stuff happen.
We can't be monolithic.
What is the
for
answer?
any damn
Everybody
thing
is
outside the
having to
wobble.
move
Yeah.
on their own individual feelings and personal needs. Teachers are quitting. Teachers are going back into the class and just trying to take extra precautions, just like healthcare workers. But they're not giving anything extra. Like you said, they're not giving any extra money or hazard pay or support in that area. But these are the choices that now comes with their role. And it's not fair, but it's happening. But what I have seen, and I can only speak from my personal experience, is that we are doing a virtual thing, is that they're team teaching. So I knew that last semester, a lot of the teachers were having some challenges with trying to do this situation, even if it's not in school and we keeping our health safe. They're doing team teaching. I appreciate how much effort these teachers are putting in. I don't know what else I can say or do for them, but they are doing it. Like, I feel like this is an opportunity for us to regroup. And I was going to say that when you were saying something earlier, you were talking about like young kids having to engage. In my whole life, I never had to go to daycare. I mean, I probably have a couple of times, but I never really had to. I had some aunties, some grandmamas, somebody's that's gonna stay at the house with me. And this is our opportunity. Because I'm not working, I asked my friend, I said, well, because I understand the bubble that these people live in, and the same kind of bubble that you're trusting your daughter to go to daycare in. We have to create these safety bubbles, and we have to support each other if we're gonna go back to school or if we're gonna be at home. Hopefully we're gonna be at home. So even in this at home bubble, I'm like, I'll check on your kid and make sure that he is following the proper steps that he is so he can stay on track. But that's what we got to do for each other. Maybe that's it. You said, what is the issue with us? Like, what are we getting a break from? Like, maybe it's not time to take a break. It's a time to regroup and reorganize and fix this, at least in our own bubbles,
Yeah, absolutely. And even from that standpoint, it does, obviously, the old cliche goes, it takes a community, right? It takes a village. And the whole idea of a community is coming together in unity. We're supposed to be able to have those particular small personal bubbles at our own homes, to where we're not relying so much or heavily on the outside, to where, okay, we do have friends, family members, coworkers, or whatever who can come, who obviously can be in our house safely and sanitized if we have to step out and go to work. Because obviously, I feel for those people who still have to go to work outside into other buildings. Those people, again, the double-edged sword that I brought up earlier is that you can't leave your kids at home by themselves. Now, obviously, that's against the law within itself. So it's like, okay, well, but I have to go to work. If I don't go to work, I don't have a job. I don't have a job, I can't provide. And it's just, again, the domino effect. It's just one thing falls, the rest falls with it. And we're having to deal with so many different issues, and even from a standpoint of even going back to the schools, with the understanding that kids can be asymptomatic they themselves couldn't obviously show any signs of having the damn virus, but take it home to their elderly aunt or grandmother or mother for that matter, or even father, and they get sick and they die from it. All because the student didn't even know where he or she got it from, or even didn't know that they even had it to begin with, or didn't show any signs of it firsthand. And now it's spreading like a wildfire outside the school versus inside. And so from that standpoint, it's again that it's a triple-edged sword when you think about it. You can't win for losing in any particular case. And so, Bernard, from your standpoint, I know you've been in talks with other teachers and staff members as well. What are the most common concerns that you're hearing from them, or even from kids from that matter?
Well, really just being lost in the virtual world. So if we're going to talk about where we at, being online virtually, I set up my virtual class yesterday, and I'm just like laughing under my breath as I set it up, like, how in the heck are my students going to know, just navigating a computer, outside of, and we talk about this all the time in education, just teaching, outside of Instagram and type in 32 carats per post or whatever that is.
Yeah.
These kids don't know
Snapchat,
how to really
on Instagram.
Yeah, Snapchat, TikTok,
TikTok.
If it ain't a TikTok or Snapchat or IG, really actually facilitating like PowerPoint screen sharing, man, that in itself is going to be just the biggest challenge. Like, so just attendance. Like, I can't say that, but anyway, attendance is going to be a big piece.
No, it is a big issue though, if you think about it. It really is, because not every child's going to either have their camera on, not every child's going to be attentive to
they make it the rules. They make it the rules.
I hope so.
They have to dress. They have to sit at their computer with their cameras on. They have to ask for permission to go to the restroom. They have a lunch break. My kids are actively in school for like about 4 hours a day.
Okay, I like that.
See,
we're not doing that.
and I mean, and that sounds amazing,
It does.
but if you coming from one of these inner city schools, right, where, let's say for instance, where the dean is he holds it down, right, or she holds it down for the school, and she's kind of the enforcer, right? Like, if
how do you enforce it in the house?
If the kid's belligerent now, right, like all he really has to do, or she has to do, is really just turn the camera off or unplug altogether. Because we are coming from a situation, at least from the south and west side of Chicago, where there's not a lot of parent involvement, right? Depending on what neighborhood it is, or if there is parent involvement, maybe with a lot of our young men, sometimes they're having problems as the young men are transitioning, growing up. They don't want to really listen to the parents, and so that's a whole nother situation that is going to be.
I just want to let you guys know, from the inner city of Chicago, I'm from Compton, California, so I understand the same kind of struggle. So don't think that I was always hearing on Marietta, Georgia.
Oh no.
And I appreciate that too, because coming from those rural cities like Compton, like Chicago, and even to a lesser degree like Atlanta, we're faced with so many single parent issues that the father, obviously, typically enough, is not at home, so the mother has to do every single damn thing for their child, for themselves, for the household. And granted, it's even more discouraging when they have multiple kids to have to do this for. If they got 4 and 5 kids, it's like, okay, how in the world? Jesus himself gonna have to come down here and help me with them, because I can't monitor every last one of these kids at the same time, making sure that they're all doing their work. Where opposed to back then, before this virus broke out, at least I knew they were in the schools and they were being monitored by other educators and teachers and facilitators for that matter. But it's that within itself is just too much to deal with. That's overbearing for any parent, let alone a single parent, a single mother. That's a lot to take on an everyday basis. That's exhausting.
So I just wanted to say that UNICEF discussed, in the article that I was reading, kind of like hit on the same point that you were talking about the No Child Left Behind situation. And I can remember a situation like this happening when I was coming up in Compton. Is some of these kids might be left behind. One part of it is that we need to move past the pandemic. So how does everybody get well and be able to just integrate back into to the school space. So once we get back there, what they were talking about was mixed grade learning. And it's possible that that's going to have to happen. I have one daughter who she's very bright, but she does not, I found out she did better online, but she had to take some summer school classes and it all worked out, but she also had the tutor situation. There are gonna have to be some different options for these kids to integrate back into the school space. And some kids are not gonna be on schedule. But another thing that they also discussed was what happens with the bullying situation when that kind of situation happens.
That's another thing that I want to check.
Like I'm telling y'all, I'm about to put this, I'm gonna send this article to you and I'm gonna need you to share this with everybody.
Oh, absolutely, I will.
Because
thank you for
I feel like
that.
it hit on some things that we have not, as a country, we don't have a leader to address these things.
We are in a leaderless country. And so to that point, I want to kind of piggyback off something you said, because obviously I'll be remiss if I didn't say this. Obviously, my mother used to always tell me this. It's more ways to get into a house than the front door, right? So there's going to be multitude of ways that we have to attack this. There's no one way to fix all this whole entire situation. But it's going to take every last one of us to do our damn parts. And I can't stress that part enough. Everybody has a damn part to play in this. Not just the politicians, not just the parents, not just the community. Everybody collectively has to. And the biggest problem I have within all this shit is that we can't be monolithic about any damn thing outside the damn wobble and the damn swag surf. We need to be much more monolithic about things that's more important to the detriment or the improvement of our community, of our kids, of ourselves too, to a lesser degree. We need to all be hands-on in this situation, because that's the only way we're going to even have some type of handle or some type of normalcy that will come out of this situation at the end of the damn tunnel. And so from
what's normal anymore? We don't have a normal.
That's the thing. I don't know what
but it's
normal
good.
is.
I don't like the old normal either.
The old normal didn't work that damn well anyway. So we have to form a new norm.
I feel like we're at our lowest low, which can either be a good thing or bad thing. I think
it's a matter of perspective.
Looking at it from hindsight, though, like you said, Marla, it's gonna literally take everybody, and we haven't had that flavor, right? In so many, decades probably, where people were like, all right, I'm gonna be accountable for these 15 kids on my block, right? If 3 of them are getting information and the other 10 aren't, we're not doing something right. So we gotta all play our part, from the corner store person to the, to everybody. And I think now we're having those conversations, at least, right? Are we trying to think differently because things aren't just set up, comfortable for us like they were. So I'm really hoping that, this is an unprecedented time for unprecedented creativity. I really hope that, we use this to think a lot deeper about our young people. I mean, this just exposed a lot of things that our young people were behind anyway, right?
It did. It magnified every single thing that we were already dealing with.
In Schaumburg or Bolingbrook, you have access to the internet, right? You guys are already working remote. You've been doing it your whole life. So so it's an easy, seamless transition. But for our babies who barely even know how to work a computer, or are the parents that don't know how to, so it's an interesting thing, but I'm so grateful that we're having the conversations. We just have to be intentional about making moves, because
yes, very much so.
Weeks are critical, man. Like, it's almost Labor Day, man. Like,
it really is. And on the verge of that, we're a month or so away from flu season. So imagine how much more this damn virus is going to be exacerbated.
Bro, and
I mean, that's utterly ridiculous.
With my job, I get the honor of working, like I said, with school leaderships, and also with, doctors at U Chicago, and a lot of them are saying that, this second wave is just going to crumble our communities in the, Black and brown, poor neighborhoods. It's going to be devastating. So, us being at home, it's going to be critical, man, because this second wave, we haven't seen it yet. And
we haven't, and we're already prepared for the worst of the worst. When in fact we had some dumbass in the office saying it's just going to go away, it's going to just vanish. Everyone says we're doing a tremendous job. Everyone's talking about how great we're doing. If he used tremendous one more damn time, y'all, I'm gonna lose my damn mind. He can't find no other adjective to describe any damn thing. I mean, this damn incompetent, narcissistic, androgynous waste of biology he is. I can name a bunch of things that he is, but
Lord,
damn so
it's
ain't
your,
tremendous. But he just keep using that word, and it's infuriating me so much how stupid he is and his lack of response. He cared about every damn thing else but this damn pandemic, and he's not reacting to it the way a true leader is supposed to. And so, just as sure as enough, we know a lot of people having trepidations about their kids going back. We also, on the flip side of that, we also know that there are people having pushback of telling their damn kids, you're not going to wear a mask when you go back to school. Because we have some parents who are being rebellious. Because again, we can't expect the damn kids to be responsible if the damn parents aren't being responsible either. So if you're not taking it serious, how in the hell are you going to expect this child to take it serious enough too? So that's
and it's not
that's
based
another
in
question
any
I have.
logic other than the fact that
None,
you feel like
no
you're so
logic
free to do
at
whatever
all.
you want to do.
Masks are a partisan issue. I don't know how that happened.
I don't know how it
of us,
became a political issue at all.
Because you don't have good leadership. Like, even the leader should have supported the science. And if the leader supported the science, then everything else would have followed, and it wouldn't have been bipartisan. He split it when he said he didn't do this, and that's what they gonna do.
Yeah,
so now this is all left.
Yep,
Everything mask and safety is left. We're free to do whatever we want to do. Right.
And you know, even to that point, on my last episode, I had my cousin who is a clinical nurse specialist at Emory University here in Atlanta. She gave me some real insight on just 5 basic tips that we could have been doing all this entire time. And it was stated that had we taken the precautionary steps 2 months ago and everybody wore their mask consistently, we would have had a better handle only 2 months ago than where we are right now. There are people who are dying now that wouldn't have died had we had a handle on this situation. And so from that standpoint, I thought about it, and I asked her a question about Dr. Fauci and his recommendation as far as just any large venues or even schools for that matter opening back up to the masses. What would be his recommendation? What would be the CDC recommendation? And I asked her, I said, to your knowledge, do you think that Dr. Birx and Dr. Fauci would just dilute their medical expertise and their information as far as what goes out to the public about what safety measures we should be taking in this particular time? And she said, honestly, in my heart of hearts, I highly doubt that he would sit up here and water down his medical expertise and information given out to us just for some damn president who ain't gonna possibly be here in November. Cross our fingers and hope that actually comes to fruition. But yeah, he needs to go, because granted, everyone else has always been up there at that damn podium talking with him. It's been like, yeah, but no, you ain't giving us a clear-cut answer, right? So granted, so much more has happened between, let's say, February and now, to where we're seeing that so many other different studies have been done on this particular virus that have shown that now, and even in the air, those pathogens and those germs stay out in the air 2 to 3 hours longer now. So now it could be potentially airborne, at least for a short time. So even with that in mind, we have to also take into account having the Lysol spray in the classrooms if kids are going to be in there, but teachers having to take their own money to buy hand sanitizers, making sure every child that walks in the damn classroom wipe your hands, or even having a sink in the classroom to make kids wash their hands right then and there, even before they sit down.
That's what I'm talking about. You got to put your money where your mouth is. They're not going to take those measures.
No, they're not.
That's what I'm saying. So even if you hear Dr.
Fauci.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And I was listening to some of his interviews. Even if you hear him say you could do this, if you do this, this, and this, he's explicitly saying you have to do these things. But we're not actually putting systems into place to make these things happen.
Yep.
So to say, oh, well, Dr. Fauci said you can go back to school now. Yeah, he did put these stipulations. And we don't put systems in place to do these things. We just like, when it comes to education, we say, well, it's good for everybody. You know, a bowl of an apple a day keeps the doctor away type of thing. Go ahead, you know, don't worry about how they're gonna get hand sanitizers. Don't worry about sinks. Don't worry about, it's crazy.
Yeah, it is. And you know what, to that point though, I want to get back to the pushback question I wanted to ask you all, because obviously we know the people who are on board with taking these safety and these precautionary steps, right? But it's the ones who aren't on board with it. because of whatever their political views are, whatever their personal, or even some people have even used religious beliefs. You know what? In my previous episode, I talked about how, and Grace, Bernard, you can actually contest to this and actually tell me if I'm correct about this. But the Bible clearly stated that during Passover, right? So I recall that God told folks to stay in the house during Passover until the spirit of death passes over your house. So if you want to use the biblical standpoint or go the biblical route and say, well, my religious beliefs dictate and tell me not to wear a mask and I don't have to do this and do that because I serve a God. Listen, God granted a hope. He granted you with common sense. But we're starting to see now that the sense ain't so damn common. So I call it rare sense because only a few of us have it. Everybody ain't got the damn sense that we're supposed to be all born with. Clearly, but now we're showing that the level of ignorance has reached a new low or a new high, however way you want to look at it, depending on your perspective of it. But my thing is, ignorance has two different definitions. It means to not know something at all, and it means to know and not give a damn. We know, we don't care. That's the biggest problem that I have. It's not about the not knowing. It's too much resources, too much information that's out here being dispersed at your disposal.
People are not taking the right information. People will, and this is my greatest, just, it's the thing that irks me the most is when someone shares a meme without any supporting evidence.
None.
If I see you post a meme that has supporting evidence, I will go and find the source because I've already read and I know it, because I want you to know. I don't want you to share misinformation. And I teach my daughters that same thing on social media. Just because it's a meme does not make it a fact. And that's what people are sharing. They're sharing misinformation. And then other people choose.
Everybody's educated now. Everybody sharing these different articles that have no definitive proof or no sense of real authenticity when it comes to the information itself. Everybody's educated now. Everybody's an enlightener now. Now we want to enlighten folks. Just posting shit, don't have no merit to it, have no reason, no logic behind it, but you're just posting things, not even doing your own due diligence and research to make
this is the world we live in.
But you know what, Marlon, check this out. And I'm gonna quote these words because this is not my idea, but I heard Dr. Jamal Bryant say this. He said, it's a broken psychology that staying at home is a punishment. Like,
God. Oh my God.
Think about it.
It is. Like, we only been home a few months, Bernard. We only been home a few months. We ain't been home no few years. We can't sit our ass down no damn where and wondering why we hadn't flattened the curve yet. Everybody want to sit up here. I'm seeing people turning up, going to day parties, going to lounges, going traveling, going vacationing. Again, Amir, I'm gonna bring it up. I'm sorry, but you know what? You know how I feel about this, especially when you get on the damn plane up 30,000 feet in the air. If one person take that damn mask off of me and cough, the whole entire plane is over with. You know what? You can't throw them off the damn plane. What you gonna do? You're 30,000 feet in the air.
Oh, the Delta to turn some folks around.
You can't turn the plane around from one person, Emil. Ain't nobody doing that. You know how much money that costs? That costs you more money than it actually makes them. So guess what? Not everybody pretty much SOL. And anybody know what SOL means? It's self-explanatory. You're 30,000 feet in the air, one person. Because some people are going to take their mask off and want to go to sleep because they claim they can't breathe, right? So they just taking it off. The second that they cough, sneeze, or anything with germs that's coming out, the whole entire plane is infected. So what you do don't only affects others, but it infects others too. If we don't take this selfish mindset out of the equation and think about everybody else around us, not just ourselves, I get it that the number one law of nature is self-preservation, but damn it, you got to take care of self and then take care of everybody else too.
That's not an American idea.
No, it's not. That's the unfortunate part about this, because we're sitting up here, it's me and mine, or just me, when most of these damn people who are taking these damn trips, let's keep it 100, let's keep it real. Most of these damn people who are taking these vacations either don't have health insurance, or furthermore, don't have life insurance. So the fact that you lamented earlier, me, about how teachers are actually writing their last will and testament before entering the damn school, because they understand the inevitable fact that some people are going to die from this virus due to the fact that we don't have any leadership that's put in place for us to actually take into account all the precautionary steps that we should have been making prior to opening these damn doors. That's the biggest culprit of the matter. It ain't the virus itself, it's the damn response to it. And it ain't just from a political standpoint, it's everybody. Everybody has a part and a fault to play in this. So getting back to that part and the fault that I want to mention, this other question I want to ask you all. So are there any plans, I'm gonna start with you, Chris. Are there any plans to test teachers and staff members if you so happen to show signs or symptoms of not feeling well or even having the pandemic? Has there been any talks about,
I think everybody rolled their eyes on that question.
I saw that, but I want to know, has there been any talks about taking care of the teachers and the staff members?
I know that one of the things that they have talked about is that they would, re-implement nurses, because nurses aren't in every school either now, right?
Nope.
Like back in the day.
Yep, used to be, yep.
Exactly. So obviously we won't know for the next few weeks, but definitely though, I think that has to be something that, we consider, right? Like if you are thinking about opening your door, and I mean, like, again, we, like our school district has been preparing to go back all, like since March, right? Like they've been planning that. Then last week it was like, okay, we're not, 2 weeks ago rather, we're not gonna do that no more. So I hope so, man. Like I think after they make the announcement, we'll get more clarity about, what teachers are going back, or do they have to be in the school to, do the lessons? But I mean, it's definitely something they got to consider. But then when you think about on the city level, when we hear about the lack of testing, now that's one thing I can say here in Chicago that they've done very well at a lot of free testing around the city. You can go get one right now if you need one, close.
But that's at your own discretion.
Exactly.
That's not at the hands of the school board.
No.
Or not putting that in place.
We'll see.
I've been seeing the everywhere they're testing the temperature, but I also heard that at
That's
the
not, but that's
convention,
not taking an actual
they tested the
test.
temperature and people still came out infected.
Yeah,
Checking somebody's temperature don't necessarily result into you actually being tested.
Yeah,
that's the damn problem.
Nah. So I definitely think temperature checks will be incorporated. Like that's going to be a big. But again, like you said, what if you're asymptomatic and you don't have, you don't have any signs, but you still got it though. So
because on average, it takes about 2 weeks to even show any symptoms of the virus itself, and so you're not going to know for the next 14 days whether or not you have it. You could be.
So there are two things here. So there's the asymptomatic, shows no signs, and then there's pre-symptomatic.
Yep.
That still shows no signs until they show signs.
Yep. So, but let me ask this question to Bernard real quick. So, has there been, to your knowledge, has there been any talks about testing for teachers?
You asking me?
To my knowledge, no. It's a simple answer. The crazy part is I'm never asked. I mean, you get maybe a survey. You get a survey.
I want to know about that survey too. If it's not too much to actually like disperse that much information out, but I'm curious to know what those surveys consist of too, because obviously if they claim that they care about their teachers' well-being too, they'll be taking the damn necessary steps to make sure that the teachers are well endowed and safe too.
So because we're online, we didn't get a survey, but I did get a survey from my son's school.
Okay.
For basically our household, how we've dealt with COVID, have we experienced it? So I respected that. Although I respected that, I mean, it's a survey. Like, I mean, I respect the fact that they tried, but it's
what did the result to?
Yeah, it's like, no. I didn't do none of these things. I mean, somebody gonna people send their kids to school with the flu. DeKalb County, this is a fact. DeKalb County 2 years ago, we almost shut down over the flu. We almost shut. They sent out an email. It was a memo. They were saying like basically if so many percent get the flu this year, because it was so many people out with the flu, they said we're gonna have to shut down. And so if you're talking about the flu and people trifling gonna send their kids with a runny nose and a snot, like, come on.
And you know what? I'm glad you brought that up too, because the flu. Here's my thing about this. So we tell our kids, or tell the parents, that they can't send their kids to school without their flu shots, without being vaccinated, right? But yet we're sending them to the damn schools and there's no vaccination for this virus yet. How much sense does that make? And on average, It takes about 18 months to 2 years to effectively put out or issue out an actual vaccine for a virus. To produce a vaccine, it takes 18 months to 2 years to do that. You're telling the people that you're going to expedite this shit in a matter of.
We know this is not about the safety of the kids or preparedness or readiness for them to go back to school. This is about being able to send their parents back to work. That's all.
Of course it is.
This is about giving the parents a place to rest their kids while they can go back to work. And they're talking about the working class. I work, as a project manager. I don't have to go in the office. They're not talking about necessarily me. They're talking about all of the, warehouse workers and everything. They need somewhere to put their kids while they go back to work.
Yep. And you know what? From that standpoint, too, obviously, it's a lot to have to decipher and choose what's more important at this particular moment in time, right? So are you more concerned about the safety of your kids or the education of the kids? And right now, in this particular moment in time, we're having to decide which one is the most important and the least important. And from that standpoint, there's going to be so many casualties, and I hate to call them casualties, but that's what it's going to be ultimately labeled as. People who are dying from this is going to be the result of those people who are in these positions of power saying, well, you know what? To that point, they're actually issuing, in some cases, I don't know if this is happening in every school district, but they're actually sending waivers to parents to sign saying that, hey, we're not responsible if your child contracts this virus and dies from this. We're not held accountable for this. They're basically deflecting all responsibility and accountability from themselves and putting it on the damn parents. What do you all, Ami, I'm gonna start with you. What do you say to that?
I wouldn't sign my kids away. My kids are worth way more. My kids are worth way more than that. I wouldn't sign my kids away. My choice before there was an option was to keep my kids at home. I wasn't ready to send my kids back, and that's that was completely off the table altogether. But everybody, and this is what I'm trying to say, because I'm somebody's mama. Y'all may be somebody's daddy on here, but I'm somebody's mama. So I'm gonna tell you from the other side of the table. Especially if you're the only one that's providing for your kid, if your back is pushed up against the wall, it is a harder choice to make whether I'm gonna send my kid back to school or I'm because if you send them back to school, that means that you can provide for them, or I'm gonna risk their health. You don't want to lose your kid to either one of those, because you can lose your kid to either one of those.
Yep.
And that is the choice that I'm saying, I'm somebody's mama, has to make. I'm not in that situation, but I can understand the weight of that. And the government don't care. They pushing that anyway, because they know that that's how we have to make the choice. Yeah. They know how hard that choice is to make.
Yeah, and even from that standpoint too. So I think things like truancy goes completely out the damn door now, because now you can't sit up and say that, oh, your kid wasn't in school today. Well, hell, it's a damn pandemic going on. What makes you think I was going to
finally took perfect attendance off the thing? No awards for perfect attendance.
That because now that's not even an issue to even have to even discuss anymore. Truancy, perfect attendance, anything that's related to the attentiveness of those particular students in class, whether virtually or physically, it goes completely out of the window now, because now we're dealing with the health and safety of our students and teachers. So Bernard, from your standpoint, what do you say to that in terms of it being that you being put in a situation where signing a waiver to say I'm pretty much deflecting all responsibility from the school and from myself as a principal, teacher, or whatever, that now this is your responsibility. So if your child dies or from this virus, that's not on us. What do you say to that?
Yeah, no. Especially if I had like a grade school age here, not happening. Not happening. I'm not signing a waiver. I mean, the fact that you send me a waiver, I'm disregarding that.
Yeah.
There are some of my colleagues that were in my cohort of teachers, they were saying that their counties did send a waiver out. None of the metropolitan ones, from what I know of, none of the metropolitan ones. But some of those out there, suburban, real rural.
Yeah, the outskirts, yeah.
Yeah, they sent some waivers out there, and I'm like, no, I wouldn't be signing that. So yeah, it's one of those decisions. And Mom, I feel sorry for you. I get it. It's like which of the two evils I'm so glad I don't have to do it by myself. Honestly, that's the only thing I can say, because say we do have to pull our kids back out, we can go back and forth. I mean, it's very difficult because I'm going to be teaching online. And for the last couple of months, little one's been running in the camera, running around me on Zoom. And I'm like, y'all, excuse that.
And you know what? To that point, we all have to deal with that too, because obviously I work in IT, and my manager and my team knows that, and we all dealing with the same things, right? So everyone who has children on the call, oftentimes have attended their kids, step away for a second, or you may hear a dog barking in the background. So we're all faced with the same issues. No one person is faced with something different than everybody else. So that's the thing that I'm seeing. From a positive standpoint, I'm seeing that the level of understanding to everyone's needs outside of their work, it's being attentive to their families while they're doing their work. And so having that respect and that understanding that, everyone has situations that they have to deal with at a time like this is something that I do appreciate seeing more of that. So Chris, what would you say? Have you heard anything about that waiver?
I've definitely heard about it. I don't know. I don't think, CPS has said, disseminated it out or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like they're still trying to figure out what they're going to do in general. I just think it's unfortunate that you would have to even put a parent,
in a situation like that,
literally that are struggling just to, be able to make it, some of them. And, it's just a tough situation. So, I definitely wouldn't sign. And, I got some little nieces and nephews, and, it's a tough time. I'm really hoping that, they think long and hard about, the plan moving forward for this, because they have a real opportunity to address some real needs. And I just hope that we don't, glance over this and just, but it's unfortunate though. And like you said, it's gonna, what is what's the consequence, right? Like somebody getting sick, or, worst case scenario, somebody dying. So it's a tough time, man.
And you know what, to that point, Chris, my next question consists of that unfortunate situation that our kids and students, our parents are being put in. So Betsy Devos, dumbass, who's the Secretary of Education, right? That's what she is, says that if schools didn't open back up, they would withhold federal funds from the school districts. I need to know. So before I ask you all your thoughts on this question, so granted, only 10% of federal funds actually come from the damn federal government into these school districts. The 90% that's being allocated to those schools are coming from us as taxpayers in these cities.
From box tops.
Yeah, from in these counties, in these cities, in these states. We're paying more taxes going towards these damn schools than the damn federal government is. So for them to have the unmitigated gall and the audacity to say something stupid like that, we're going to withhold the 10% that we give you. How dare you? You're already not giving schools enough damn money. Now you're going to withhold the very little money you're already giving them? It makes entirely no damn sense. So, Amia, I'm going to ask you, ladies first, what are your thoughts on this damn idiot saying something stupid? And obviously, piggybacking off what the hell the dumbass in office said too. Because Trump, he seconded that. He said, actually, I think he said it first, and then
I think both of them need to sit their behinds in the classroom. Go sit in the classroom. Go sit in the classroom. Go sit on a school bus, sit in a classroom. Send Barron. Where's Barron going to school? Where's Barron? You know, but I don't think he even cares about his own kids to that same level. So I couldn't even ask him to do anything like that. But these are very rich people who are always looking for a bit from a very rich perspective, where they don't count on or depend on the same things that regular Americans do. And I think that these are the opportunities for us to recognize. And I'm talking about Republicans, I'm talking about Democrats, because there's a lot of poor Republicans and they're not understanding. They're putting your children at risk as well. And you think that you are above this disease? Look at all of the people who have died from it. They Republican, they Democrat. Maybe they need to post something like that. That's what we need to see. How many Republicans have died from this? It does not clear you of this disease. And that's what they need to understand. So when you are voting, and I mean on every level, you need to consider who is considering you and your safety.
Absolutely. Because it ain't even just about Trump. It's more so, because let's just say, for shits and giggles, hypothetically, we don't get Trump out of office. My biggest concern is getting his supporting group out of their offices, because they're the ones who are fueling him the whole idea that, okay, he can say and do whatever the hell he wants when he has his backup, these damn Republican senators and congressmen and women who are out here still backing this damn idiot.
Every level.
Despite every single thing that they've said about him prior to him becoming president, the Lindsey Grahams, the Mitch McConnells, the damn Matt Gaetz of the world. So these idiots who are on record, until let's say Ted Cruz too, these are the same idiots that were saying that he's incompetent, he's an idiot, he's a moron. Now they out here, they got so much damn audacity to sit up and say what they want. Now, before, you weren't saying all these kind of things in these different press conferences and meetings and different congressional hearings and stuff like that. But now, because he gave you the power to say it, now you're going to sit up here and piggyback it, the exact same dumbass rhetoric that he's out here putting out here. It's foolish to think that it's just Trump. It's his supporting cast. They're the ones that need to be removed. Even if he don't, because say he don't get removed, he don't have no support. We don't give a damn what he say, because it won't stick. It won't hold any merit to any damn thing that's going on. And granted, he thinks he has any damn rules, or he thinks he has all this damn power, when in fact it's Congress that passes the bills, that passes the laws, that passes the money, or reallocates money and stuff like that. So for him and Betsy Devos to have the unmitigated gall to say something stupid like, we're gonna withhold funds. All they can do is hold. They can postpone the funds, but because all it's missing is their damn signature. That's it. Because Congress has already approved the damn money. So for you to sit up here and say we're gonna withhold it, no, Congress is gonna proceed to push that money out, because you sitting up here being stupid enough to think that you have the power to withhold money that's already been approved by Congress. It's foolish to think that he is the person that. He's the main, obviously he is the main person we have to get rid of, but in the event that we don't, we got to focus on getting rid of these other damn folks. So I need people, get their asses out here and vote in your damn, in your respective states and cities, to get these people out of office who are actually supporting this moron.
And we got to make sure we know who gonna cover RBG.
Yeah, absolutely, because we're sitting here, and granted, and to your point, Amir, that you made about Republicans and Democrats, because we know politicians are full of shit anyway. So regardless of what party you're in, we know that they all have their own agenda. So it's all about who's more full of it than the other person in some cases, especially with what we're dealing with right now. But I'll discuss that in a later time in terms of the politics of it, right? So from your standpoint, how do you feel about that, Bernard, about Betsy Devos and Trump saying they're going to withhold money from schools if they don't open back up?
Yeah, it's a threat, and it really just kind of shows that follow the money trail. Follow the money trail, because it's always, when it comes to standardized testing, when it comes to what governs the school, it's all a money play.
It is.
It's a money play. So when you say, "Well, I'm gonna pull funding if you don't do what I want to do," it's all a money play.
It ain't about the kids.
It ain't about the kids at that point. So it really, like we've stated before, it's exposing what's already there. It magnifies it even more. But we know also Betsy DeVos has she has like a litany, like a history of being pro-school choice. So if she's pro-school choice, right? So she's for sending all the kids to private schools, which I don't have that's not my biggest issue. My biggest issue is what it does to the public schools that's within that same zone area. And also the equity, the access, and as well as the diversity that is lacking at those schools, because the resources are drained into the newly created private school. That's the biggest problem. So why would she say anything different? I think I said all that to say, why would she say anything different? Oh yeah, we're gonna pull what we plan to these public institutions because we don't care about y'all anyway.
She really don't. She can tell you the damn difference between public and private school to begin with, right? So, and you're speaking from a public school standpoint, and obviously, Chris, you obviously are teaching at a private charter school, which is the most successful charter school in the entire country when it comes to graduation rates, when it comes to just kids overall excelling. The unfortunate part is, and here's the underlying situation that Betsy DeVos obviously don't want to admit to, her husband owns a damn private school too. So that's more the reason why she's all about putting more money and funding towards private schools which is draining the public schools of their resources and their funding. So she to that point, she really don't give a damn about public schools and about the zoning aspects of it. Obviously, kids being able to have adequate books, technology, and even food to a lesser degree, because obviously our kids have for so many years been fed so much of this, so many different things. It's not healthy. That's all they can really bank on eating when they get to school. So it's, Michelle Obama was a huge advocate of pushing forward with putting all of those different healthy foods in the schools, making sure that our kids are getting all the vitamins and nourishment that they obviously need in their bodies to help them grow at a healthier pace. Because again, from a disproportionate standpoint, Black people in the Black community are disproportionately affected by our health more than anybody else is. That's both physical and mental health. We have so much to deal with mentally that it becomes an emotional attachment to us to just eat whatever the hell we can eat, almost to a point where now we're overeating just to kind of satisfy us mentally. Now we're eating all the wrong things just to kind of just let that be an outlet for us. And so it's been like, again, a domino effect that we've had to deal with for so many years in the Black community, to where we're dying at early ages. We're dying, honestly, prior to my two older aunts, my elder aunts in my family, no one in my family lived past 60, which was unfortunate because it was due to the health and just the different things we were just putting in our bodies. And it scared me to a point where it made me want to just completely just change my diet for the most part and stay active, stay always, exercise and doing cardio and stuff like that too. So from that standpoint, we have to obviously take into account our kids need that nourishment in the schools too. And for her to be taking money out of the public schools, dumping it all into the private schools and just saying, okay, look at the success of our private schools. Well, you're ignoring what the hell success we could have in the public schools had you done right by them and gave them the amount of resources and adequate funding that they would need to be prosperous in those areas. The amount of students that could have came out of those public schools during her tenure to be successful is imminent. And so from that point, we have to also think about how much more this is affecting these public schools. I'm a product of a public school, so I know, and I can pretty much say, rightfully assume that each and every one of you all are products of public schools as well. So from that standpoint, we're all success stories in our own right. That speaks to exactly what we came about, what we were able to accomplish in our day in education, and what we were able to overcome the different disparities and discouraging parts of our neighborhoods and different things in our community that was happening around us. We were still able to be a part of that success story and say, look where we are right now. So Chris, from your standpoint, what are you seeing as far as her saying something stupid like, oh, we're gonna withhold funding? What does that say to you from a private standpoint?
It's just another tactic, obviously, just to put fear in the heart of some people that might not know, right? Like, if you weren't in tune with what's going on, you might, be threatened by that and say, okay, well, let me hurry up, try to make a move. So I think right now for us, as a city and, as a country, we really have to, I think, take a step back and look at what does, equality on the education level look like, right? Like, if all our young people, don't have access to, a good education or to even, basic necessities and technology, I mean, there's a problem, right? Like, for instance, the prep, for instance, right? 100% of our guys, 11 years in a row, and that should be the norm, but it's not, right? For Black boys, we the crop that are producing those guys, but like, everybody should be doing that. That shouldn't be something that's glorified anymore, right? I mean, we should be happy about it, but it shouldn't be like, oh my God, it's
that should absolutely be the norm now for any, whether private or public schools.
But it's just not. It's not happening, and it just lets us know about the work that we obviously had to do. Like I said, in Chicago, there's a huge Black Lives Matter protest today. I actually got to head to that in a few minutes, but it's just a lot going on. I'm just grateful that there's so many people that are intentional about trying to do their part I'm encouraged by being on this conversation today about, what's happening and us being at the table for these conversations. I think most times a lot of conversations like this go over a lot of our heads because we're not in those rooms to have these conversations. But I'm so grateful that, we have dedicated and committed and focused teachers, educators, right? Community members that are looking forward to helping our young people make it. It has to happen. They're not just important 5 years from now. They're important right now. And yeah, it's a tough time, but I know we'll get through it like we always do. So, I'm encouraged by being on this conversation with you guys today.
Yeah, and I appreciate those encouraging words because even at the end of the tunnel, there's still light there, right? So obviously we can take this situation and list a long list of silver linings to deal with, or even just to address, right? There are some positives even in the midst of all of this negative that's going on. But we ourselves have to take into account exactly how much more can actually effectively happen from a positive standpoint and what part we all play in that. We have to each look ourselves in the mirror and say, you know what? I'm responsible for X, Y, and Z. And if I don't do my part, then I can't be out here complaining about what comes about that, right? And so too many times we just hear a bunch of damn people out here running their damn mouths, complaining, but don't have any type of forms or solutions whatsoever as it pertains to bringing to the damn table. Now, granted, I've said this before on my podcast, and I'm gonna say it again. I don't have all the answers, but I'm willing to talk to every single one of my Black people in these different positions of power affecting our communities in the most positive way to come up with those solutions to where we can collectively say, hey, all right, now that we got this list of things, items that we can actually pinpoint and touch on, let's all start to come together in groups and start attacking these particular issues head on. And let's see what the results be thereafter. And then once we complete one task, then we on to the next one, and just continuously be that way in a monolithic tone. But we can't do that when we have so many damn people who are out here daring to be different for all the wrong damn reasons and having all these damn opinions when opinions are formed based on some facts. Your opinion don't have any facts to it, shut the hell up. And I really mean that just from the bottom of my heart. People need to stop with all these damn opinions and presenting no facts at all. You have no facts to even back up why you feel that way. None whatsoever. So we're having to resort to listening to a bunch of folks who either, to Mia's point, putting out false information. They're finding on fake sources or fake articles. They're finding out that obviously Facebook and Twitter are now starting to fact check, which I'm actually glad about, because it's starting to put a pause on people posting so many of them damn just misinformation posts and articles is being put out there. And so from that standpoint, I do appreciate, like you said, Chris, the positiveness that comes about us being together, seeing the way we are in unison in terms of attacking some of these issues. I do appreciate, but it has to be consistent. You can't just be one city, one area, one neighborhood. It has to be the entire damn country. Again, we're looking at every other country. Now, mind you, America is not the largest country in the world, but it's damn sure ain't the smallest. So even the bigger countries or the smaller ones are looking at us and laughing at us and saying, well, you are all oftentimes talking about you're the greatest country in the world. Why you can't seem you have all these resources and the bandwidth to handle this situation, but yet we're doing better than you are. So what does that say? But then we turn around and say, these people can't come to our country, but we can show enough go to theirs
Oh, they
vacation.
showing us right now, aren't they?
But we can go to their damn countries and vacation, though. How stupid is that? It's a huge contradiction to what it is we're dealing with right now. And so, and I hate how politicized this virus has become. It's all about politics with this. We're not listening to medical experts enough. And I'm not sitting up here telling you that Dr. Fauci is the only person we need to be listening to. No, but he's one of them. Again, in my previous episode, talking to my cousin who's a clinical nurse specialist, she talked about how Dr. Fauci's been in this position since I've been alive, since 1984. He's worked under 6 previous presidents to deal with the SARS, the Ebolas, the other viruses that have come and gone, or not necessarily gone completely, but we had a better handle on it during the Obama administration, right? So granted, we had a better task force that was equipped and knowledgeable enough to handle these situations, and obviously centered around those medical experts who gave us that information right there on the spot and say, you know what, this is what we need to consider. But because this virus has escalated in so many different areas and ways, that now more studies are being shown other ways that we can contract the virus outside of not wearing a mask, outside of possibly not social distancing and things like that. So those type of things we have to stay abreast of each and every day, because there are new developments coming out every single day with what ways to best handle the situation. Now, granted, a few months before, we wasn't told to actually wear masks, but that's not to say that we don't have to wear masks now. And so we have to continuously do our parts in making sure that we get a better handle on this. And so, granted, I appreciate, I know, Chris, you got to get ready to go, head out to the to the protest out there that's happening in Chicago. I appreciate your time, brother. I'm always thinking about you. I'll be checking on you. Greatly appreciate you joining us today on this episode to talk about this. Continue to do what you do, man, because you're doing a tremendous job out there. Let me not say tremendous. I said I didn't like that damn word. You're doing a wonderful job in Chicago with leading our young men, helping them boys become young men before they reach the end of their road. And so I greatly appreciate that from the bottom of my heart, man. You and I always talk about just how much of a role model these kids need from us as Black men, preferably. Not dismissing our Black women, but we need to be the forefront in the forefront of our communities, taking hold of our young men and women and saying, listen, we're taking our communities back, and it's going to take us to be in unison to do that. And so, again, I appreciate the time, brother, and definitely stay safe out there. And I'll be checking in on you to see how you're doing, and keep up the good work, man.
Thank you, good brother. Honored to be on the on the podcast with all of you guys. Thank you for your leadership and for your caring words, and I'm wishing an amazing school year for all of you guys, and grateful to be a part of it. So I'll keep you guys updated if I hear anything new or if I think of anything. But appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks again, Chris. Stay safe, man. Yeah. So, Bernard, from you, I want to know just what is it that's being said, or has it been anything said to teachers in regards to what's being mandated for you all to do as far as preserving your safety? Or has that talk even happened yet?
Well, yeah, I will give us some credit on that regard, because even when we do have to come, we don't have to come in the building. However, when we do need to come in the building for supplies and things like that, we have a mechanism to sign in, sign out. We do have staggered schedules. Like they say, ELA is allotted for this time. Like if you coming in to pick up something and you're in the ELA department, you need to be up here between 1 and 3, or else don't you come up here. If you're in the math department, be up here between 10 and 2, or don't come up. So they've taken those type of precautions. And with the resources we have, man, that's the best we could do with the resources we have.
Yeah, and I'm curious to know if any more resources are going to be pumped into these school districts, countrywide, right? Because obviously, in order to effectively open these doors up to these students and to the teachers as well, there's going to have to be some more money being allocated to these school districts. It's going to have to be, and there's no other way around that. Despite us not getting another second round of the stimulus check for those who have been furloughed or laid off from their jobs permanently, for that matter, we still need money being put into these school systems to make sure that we are effectively and safely, gradually enough opening up these school districts for our kids to go back. Now, my thing is, I'm not completely against opening the schools, but I am completely against opening this, just opening it wide the hell open, right? It needs to gradually happen. There needs to be situations consistently enough where half of the students in that 30 student class needs to obviously be in the school, in the classrooms with protective gear, masks, spaced out in the classroom, while the other 15 are online virtually, right? So I forget what the term is for that. I think it's a dual something along those lines, as far as like a dual process where half the kids are in school, the other half are virtual, and then the next week, the half that was in the school is now at home, and the half that was at home and now in the school. Just continuously, just
all of those ideas need to be put out there, and somebody needs to pick them up before we head back to school, just full-headed, forged ahead,
Yeah, because again, if you take these precautionary steps along with other ones, then, like you said, it's going to be an inevitable situation that's going to happen where these damn politicians are going to be looking stupid in the face, saying, "Oh, well, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't have opened the damn schools back up." Well, you know what? You're paying for my damn child's funeral now. You're paying for my guardian's funeral now. You're paying for the teachers' funerals now, because you yourself put us in a situation with the lack of leadership that came from you and from the damn president you support. You didn't put enough precautionary steps in place for these schools to effectively and gradually open these schools back up for these kids to not only gain the education, but also gain it in a safe manner. You didn't do that. So guess what? Now we're resulting to having to reclose the schools. That's exactly the same approach that has been taken with these different states. Arizona closed, Texas closed, California closed. 2 of the biggest states in the damn country are closed, y'all. California and Texas. All because the damn governors and the senators of those states had the unmitigated gall to say, well, we're going to just push this out. We're going to make everybody go back to work, do this, do that. But yet none of the damn states, none of the 50 states in this damn country mandated that everyone wears a damn mask.
Well, they say they can't tell these kids to wear a mask, but they can tell me how to wear my hair.
They can't do that. They can't. I can't have this beard grow too much longer. But damn it, let me wear a mask though. Oh, that's to your discretion, right? Really, we're gonna leave it up to the damn kids and the parents to make that decision when you yourselves are in these positions of power to make sure that every precautionary and safety measure is being taken by everyone. But you can't mandate that though. And I'm gonna get to that point in my next segment in a few minutes though. But yeah, I want to know. So, as a parent, as a concerned parent for your kids, what conversations are you having with other parents in regards to just how they feeling about all of this, reopening the schools back, telling the kids they're either going to go back or they're going to do virtual learning? Because I'm really interested in learning how parents are taking this in totality, right? So obviously I don't know what every parent is thinking, but every parent is different. So what may be your concern may not be that other person's concern, which is unfortunate because every damn concern consistently is all our concern. At least I would like to think it would be. But to your point, what would be the most consistent thing you're hearing from other parents in regards to their trip?
None of my friends. I mean, I just kind of hang in the same kind of little circle with the same kind of people, but nobody is ready to send their kids home. I mean, to school, like nobody. I have seen opportunities where okay, let me take that back. Some of the high school kids, they want their kids to go back to school. They feel like these years are very vital and they need to be in school. And they also feel like they could be more responsible with the certain amount of rules established. So that's just one set. But then like my kids are middle school. It's like a lot of us have the opportunity to kind of like hang back and monitor our children. So that's kind of like the situation I'm in. But I also have people who are like you have a little one, where they kind of they're in a position to create a protective bubble, and they're trying to trust school to have their kids all day and bring them back safe, So it's like daycare. I have a cousin but she works for an organization who allows her to stay in a bubble. So she doesn't have to go out, and she's only trusting that. So we have different variables going on here. You got parents going out and exposing themselves, and then you got kids going out, so that creates a lot. So I'm finding it that it's kind of like either or. It's either I'm going out or you going out, but we ain't both going out if we don't have to. Maybe it's just that maybe I hang around a certain group of people, but I have seen and I can understand like all of the essential workers who have to go to work. And then what will you do if your kid is not in like that age group who can go to daycare, or your kid is not in that age group who can stay at home by themselves. Like I said, some of this is going to be catch-up work on the back end about getting our kids back to where they need to be. Some kids might be missing some school.
Absolutely. And even to that point, Bernard, I want to know from you, as a teacher, has any parents reached out to you in regards to their own concerns and trepidations about, possibly letting their kids go back to school, or even any concerns about virtual learning in general? Because obviously parents do have concerns about that too, especially knowing, if, to Amia's point, if they are essential workers or have to be physically in a building and away from home, then how they're monitoring their kids is that's a big question mark. That's $1 million question, because if their kids are not being attentive in school, how else would they even know that? Because they can come back home and kids say, well, yeah, I finished my work and XYZ, but there's no hard proof of that, at least from their end. The teachers have all the admin rights and access to that, to those assessments and to that assignments and things like that. So the parents are not going to necessarily see if their kids actually completed
They're
their
making
work.
us work extra hard. Honestly, we are privy to that information, but we are working hard because we are following up with our kids, behind our kids. I don't know if everybody is, and I'm sorry to cut in right there, but this is my personal experience with the online thing, is that my kids are doing their work, and I get so many emails throughout the day. If I was working like now, then this will probably be a lot more challenging, but I can follow up with them just about every day, about every assignment, because it's there. There is a process set in place in our school district. But again, our school district was prepared for this opportunity, and a lot of school districts are not.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Go ahead, Bernard.
Yeah, so I will say that we had to call. So yeah, we're doing like she said, we're doing a lot of circling back, checking up, running behind people. It's really kind of ridiculous, but I get it, but it's all falling on the teacher. So
like everything else.
Oh man, I've been put in this position where I'm calling. We have a day to call parents, like call every parent on your roster today, type of thing. We don't even, like, Wednesdays are our days to do that. So what we were instructed to do was last week during pre-planning, we had like 3 hours, and it was just like, call all your parents and tell them about the, virtual learning. You're going to be their teacher, what your channel is, and yada, yada, yada. And every parent that I talked to, the conversation was longer than I ain't gonna say expected, but it was longer than I needed. It was emotionally exhausting.
I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I'm on the phone for like 10, 15 minutes. Yeah, that's not long, but you're talking about 30 parents, 40 parents. Like, I'm like sitting on the phone, and they were very elated to even hear somebody, and thank you for calling. So I will say this, a positive. They respect the game. Parents, now the system is the system, but parents, I believe they respect the game, because all the stuff, I did see a meme that I love that I did repost. All the stuff that we said about little Johnny, it's true now.
Yeah, you do. you always knew, as a parent, you knew that your child was disruptive in class and making jokes and disturbing everybody else doing their work and things like that too. So now you can't ignore that now.
Yeah. It's on the top of your mind now.
Yep.
So when I call you and I tell you that, your child needs to be online from 9 to 9:45, you're like, oh, okay. Well, how do they do it? And you really want to know. You're interested. You're engaged in this now. So that's one positive thing I will say about it. They're at least the parents are concerned enough to engage it.
Okay. And I appreciate that too, because obviously we know in the past, most parents, obviously they complain about being too busy, they have other kids to deal with. And I'm like, listen, I understand that life is hard, but damn it, you chose to have these kids. So you better choose to be responsible enough to take care of them the way they're supposed to be taken care of. Don't keep expecting teachers who are still human beings, who for the most part, most of them have their own families to have to tend to and deal with too. You can't keep expecting teachers to do everything while you sit up here and do nothing but take all the damn credit for it. That's not fair to the teachers. And I'm gonna always be an advocate for the teachers more than I am the parents, especially given from my own personal experience of seeing what I saw in the schools when it came to the parents. One parent sat here and took her damn children out of the school, quote unquote, transferred them during the damn during the state test, during the test time, only to find out her and the boyfriend broke up for whatever the hell reason it was, and the kids was just out of school. They didn't even get transferred nowhere, so they had to make up for the damn test weeks after the fact. That was stupid. Like, what are you doing? See, the things that we prioritize is a bigger issue to me than the things that obviously we're dealing with, because obviously whatever we deal with, that's what life is. It is what it is in some cases. It's how you respond and deal with it. That's the biggest matter. That's the biggest thing to focus on. All right. Life sometimes gives you lemon. How you gonna make lemonade out of it? If you're gonna make lemonade out of it at all. But my thing is, doing nothing is not an option in any case, especially with what we're dealing with right now. And so, again, I do appreciate and understand that more parents are stepping up in certain aspects of their kids' lives in terms of their education. I want to see more of that. Obviously, I want to hear more success stories like that too, because in the past we didn't have a lot of parental involvement, and most of that you all can speak to from a parent-teacher conference or from PTA meetings or whatever for that matter. You can tell who was really more attentive to their kids, involved in their kids' lives from their education than the other ones were. And so they sent a brother or older brother or a sister or an aunt to be in their place to listen out for what their kids are doing. Oh yeah, he or she doing this and doing that. No, they're not, because you're not holding them accountable for it. Because you yourself are not being held accountable for holding them accountable for it. So it's just, again, so many different layers to this onion that we have to peel back and figure out what is the root cause of those particular issues as it pertains to involving yourself in your kid's life from a school standpoint. Even during this time of a pandemic that we seem to not have a handle on, we have to be very much so attentive now than we ever been, because now is the most critical time too. And so, final thoughts on just the CDC guidelines, right? So the CDC strongly suggests that classrooms are 15 kids or less in the classrooms. What other things would you like to see the CDC actually post or even strongly advise parents and teachers and school districts to actually do moving forward during this pandemic? Mia, I'm gonna start with you.
I can go along with some of the suggestions with like UNICEF. And I know that there's always a resource problem, but if you can stagger the learning, or like you said, you bring certain kids or groups in and others out, in the same thing with the staff as well, those will be things to just minimize the risk. Now, we're all talking about going back to school during the height of this pandemic. Hopefully, a lot of us will still have options and opportunities to stay at home, because I think that is the safest place for us during this time until the highest risk is over, and then we can return back. So understand that this is not the first pandemic that we have withstood and overcome. And we did return to business as usual. Hopefully that will be the case at some point, but we need a leader in place to make that happen. So my final thought is, I don't want to go back to school. Not right now.
Yeah, and listen, I appreciate that thought too, because I sit here even having the worries and trepidations that I have. I want to be optimistic about, and hopeful about the future, right? But if things continue on the way it's been going, we ain't never getting out this damn year. We're going to be stuck in 2020 for the next 3 to 5 years. And that's the most unfortunate thing about this. It's like sitting here, 2 plus 2 is 4, y'all. It ain't going to never be 5. It damn sure ain't going to be 3. So why is it so damn hard to sit up here and put things in place for us to all do it, right? So I equate wearing a mask. I said this in my previous episode. Wearing a mask is like putting on a seatbelt. None of us wants to do it, but damn it, it's to preserve safety for not only us, but the other drivers and passengers and other damn cars too. So we have to take that into account. It ain't just about our safety. It's about the safety of others around us. Because if you look at it from a macro and a micro standpoint, from a micro standpoint, kids going back to school and coming back home, we don't know who's in these kids' homes during those times with them. An elderly person, their grandmother, grandfather, older aunt, older sister, brother, whatever, they can have pre-existing medical conditions, and them children being asymptomatic can expose them of that virus. And weeks, maybe days later, those parents or guardians are dying from the virus, all because of them. The kids are being exposed to this on the school level and coming back home with it, and not even showing any signs or any symptoms, for that matter, of having the virus themselves. Now, but let any of these stupid people tell it, kids can't get it, kids can fight it off, kids can. Where in the hell are you getting this information from? See, the misinformation and the level of ignorance.
A meme.
It's see that's what's bothering the hell out of me. It's raising my blood pressure up. How stupid people are being with this. We're not taking this serious enough. That's my biggest problem about this. No one collectively is taking this serious enough to do something about it consistently, making sure that we're safely going back to work. Our kids are safely going back to the schools, but gradually happening. Not just, all right, I'm gonna open this damn completely, I'm gonna open it wide open. Not halfway, not a little bit, just for a few at a time. No, we're gonna just open the damn door completely wide open and make sure everybody come in at the same damn time. I have a concern about that. Bernard, what are your thoughts on it? Your final thoughts on it?
Okay, yeah, let me give you my final thoughts. I'll say two things. Number one is we got to look, and I know you guys are educated. The local governance is really what matters. Because the dog and pony show happens up top, we know that. But
Yep.
that local GDOT manager, the people like that, the governor, the Georgia Board of Education, those types of things.
Yep.
If you look at those, like one time I did research on the education of those people. Oh, it's terrible. I mean, so if they're discussing something they don't know about, like, let's just be clear. Like, a lot of those guys have associates. That's their highest degree.
Yep.
Oh,
if that damn much.
But yeah, that's a high bar for some of those guys. They have associates. I was looking at my representatives and stuff. These guys have associate's degrees. So if they're talking about something they didn't have good experiences with, they didn't have success with, and you're leading an institution that you almost didn't make it through. So if you're looking at that, no, I mean, look what we got. We're going to have that. Yeah, just open the doors up. We didn't think through it. We're going to pull the funds if you don't open the doors. Of course, We're going to have kind of responses. So, we all have a part to play in that. We got to do better on our local levels, our local elections, and don't get so wrapped up in the dog and pony show, because that's what it is.
Yeah, but even to that point, though, Bernard, it's funny you say that, because the dumbass governor here in Georgia, Kemp, he was on record for saying something, and I'm gonna always bring this up because it just threw me for a complete damn loop. Hearing him say this, he said, "Well, I didn't know people can be asymptomatic and still spread the virus. The damn CDC is down the street from you, you damn moron. How you don't know that? How did you get this damn job again? How are you a governor of an entire state? The damn CDC is walking distance from your damn office, and you don't know that? Either you're lying, or you stupid, or you're both. I would like to choose the latter. I think it's both. He's a damn moron who has no business being in that damn position to begin with. But we're gonna talk about voter suppression and how he rigged the damn election for him to win the damn thing over Stacey Abrams. But that's another story for another damn topic, another day. We won't bring it up right now. But the fact that you are a damn governor, you and Governor DeSantis down there in Florida, sitting up here saying stupid things like, well, I didn't know that you can be asymptomatic, or the fact that you're not mandating people wear masks. You had the damn audacity to sit up here and threaten to sue the mayor of the damn
there was
city.
a suit. It wasn't a threat. He just pulled it back. But
he pulled it back. Well, he pulled it back now because he realized how many black women was going to be on his ass about this, because black women were protesting left and right downtown Atlanta, making sure that he understood just who and what he's up against. If you're going to think you're going to take on Keisha Bottoms, imagine how many more black women were threatening to come to Atlanta just in support of her during this time right now. You're taking the damn time out of the world's time right now, dealing with a pandemic, to sit up here and sue her for mandating that people wear masks, and then on top of that, saying something stupid like, well, we can't force the law on people. Well, why the hell are people stopping at stop signs and stoplights then? Why the hell are people wearing seatbelts then? Why the hell does people even have car insurance? Like, listen to your damn self. You sound so stupid to say something dumb like that. And before we go, I want to transition to a segment in the show that I like to call I'm Finna Cuss. So
I'm sorry, say it again.
I'm finna cuss. I'm finna cuss. So I got that term from, obviously, the Black community. We're just so creative with our words and our ebonics and our slang. You know, most of my aunties and uncles, mother for that matter, they cuss so much that they practically made up curse words. So, you know, but from this particular point in this segment, is to explicitly express my concerns and my feelings about a particular topic. So this is an unfiltered, uncensored, and unapologetic podcast. So I'm always, the doors of just explicitly expressing yourselves on this platform is always open to anyone and everyone at any point in time. So in this segment, I like to call I'm Finna Cuss. I'm gonna talk about just what you brought up earlier, Mia, about the damn school south of Atlanta, that a 15-year-old student posted a picture of the hallway of that school filled with hundreds of kids, most of them not wearing masks. Do you know that 15-year-old student got suspended for posting that damn picture? I'm about to cuss real bad now. How fucking dare you? If I was that child's parent, I would raise so much hell that Lucifer himself would be like, I don't want no parts of this dude because clearly he's on another level with this. You gonna have the damn audacity to sit up here and suspend my child for exposing your damn school and school district of the truth? And do you know the damn dumbass superintendent of that school district had the audacity also to say, well, I can't mandate kids wear masks. We can't do that. But you can mandate they ass wear uniforms. You can mandate that they don't fight or they get expelled. You can mandate that they don't even smoke on school ground or smoke at all. You can
Or mandate that they can't use their cell phones at school, which you trying to suspend it for.
Shit, but you can't mandate them wearing no damn mask. You'd have lost your damn mind, and he ought to lose his damn job for saying something stupid like that. We have people in these positions of power who are so incompetent, so foolish, that people just on the street, random people can fill their damn positions and do a damn better job better than they are. Because clearly they don't deserve the damn position to begin with. You are a superintendent of a whole damn school district to say something that's stupid, that the vitriol in it. I mean, my God, you have the nerve to sit up here and suspend that child? Trust me, it couldn't have been no black child that got suspended for doing that. Because I guarantee you, social media, and in the court of public opinion, black folks would have been protesting the hell out of that damn school district. I bet you're gonna uplift this damn suspension for this child, or you're gonna see more damn people show up. You're gonna learn. If you don't learn today, damn it, you're gonna learn in the next 20 goddamn minutes. You're gonna learn in the next 10 minutes. You don't sit up here and suspend a child for posting the truth about a school district who clearly have no particular precautionary steps in place for these kids to safely transition from one classroom to the next. A whole damn herd of kids in one hallway. And then they have the nerve. There is no distance whatsoever. They're all just congested and just obviously banged up against each other. Really? Really? And the first thing you do is suspend the child, not say, oh, we're gonna put a better precautionary step in place for kids to safely transition from one class to the next. Oh no, that wasn't your first damn thought. Your first thought was to suspend the damn child who took her phone, by the way, it is her right, it's her phone, to post something, because obviously you don't ever suspend the damn kids who are posting all these damn videos of kids fighting though. But yeah.
She posted after hours.
Yep. It was after hours too. So that's another added monkey wrench that's thrown into that. If those parents aren't raising no damn hell, those parents don't deserve that child exposed to damn truth about that damn school district and yet get punished for it. No, it couldn't have been my damn child. I can guarantee you that.
She called it necessary trouble.
It was necessary, because you just saw these kids don't have any damn mask on. Kids oftentimes, and these were high school kids, so they're more mindful of sneezing and covering their mouths than the smaller kids are. But even some of the careless teenagers would do it as a joke. They would be like, their fake cough, just to actually like raise some hell and get a laugh out of it, right? So being the stupid teenagers that they are, because teenagers are the dumbest breed of kids there is, if you think about it, because they're the most irresponsible for the most part. They're oftentimes doing the most irresponsible things. We were all teenagers. We all experienced some stupid things that we did. So we're not excluding our generation from it, but we're merely stating the fact and the reality that teenagers oftentimes are the ones who are doing the most immature shit. And doing something to that degree won't get little Johnny suspended though, if he fake cough though, right? But you're gonna suspend the child for exposing the truth. I have so many issues with this damn statement, and I'm gonna keep following this damn this damn story as more things develop about it. I want to hear from these damn parents of that child who got suspended. I want to know that you are frustrated, you are pissed off at the highest level with the superintendent and that principal who allowed that child to be suspended for that. Really? Okay. I want to know what you all's final thoughts on that. Bernard, I'm gonna start with you.
Yeah. Of course, we delegate. This is what we do. We delegate down, delegate. So it's nobody's fault. And to the person that exposes it, we punish them. That's just, that's how we've executed democracy. So yeah, that makes no common sense. And I didn't know they actually suspended the person who posted the picture. I mean,
yeah.
Listen, that is the last picture that the kids posted that somebody needs to be suspended for. If we talking about pictures, if we talking about the stuff that go in that cloud throughout the class, throughout the day, man.
Nothing scantily clad, half naked, violent pictures of fights and shootouts. None of that. It's a damn picture of kids transitioning from one classroom to the next in a congested hallway, Bernard. In a congested damn hallway.
That's crazy.
Listen, I'm gonna say it again. I might get a damn shirt that said it wouldn't have been my damn child.
Yeah.
I bet you Don Lemon and CNN would have been right there with me. And I would have made a damn example out of that damn school, out of that damn school district, out of that damn superintendent, out of that principal who allowed such a damn thing to even occur in the first place. It couldn't have been my damn child.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
I mean, are you still there? Your video went out. Must be having technical issues right now.
What's going to
get her final thoughts on this too before we wrap up? Because you got to be kidding me, man. It's again, to your point, it's a lot of things to get suspended for. The truth. Come on, man. We're not doing this, man. Listen, I oftentimes see a lot of different videos of different things people do, especially the racist folks. And I often think to myself, damn, why won't none of this happen to me? What happen around me or something? Like, because I want to give a response to that. I'm going to do one or two things is going to happen if it happens around me or to me. I'm going to either educate you or enlighten you. And you're going to take from that exactly, you know what? I shouldn't have reacted this way. I'm going to act differently moving forward. Or I'm going to make a damn example out of you. Take it however the way you want it. You take it as a threat, whatever. I'm 6'4", 230 pounds of an all black man. You don't want these damn problems. I'm telling you that right now. So, yeah, Amir, I was just talking about how the new hashtag is, it couldn't have been my damn child. So I want to know your thoughts on that.
What? It's a new hashtag, what?
It couldn't have been my damn child. The reason why I say that is because of the fact that child was suspended. That couldn't have been my damn child.
Oh, it couldn't have been my child.
For exposing that damn school of the truth. It wouldn't have been my child.
Right.
So I want to know from you, just your final thoughts on that particular issue, because clearly, as this story develops, again, I'm gonna be following what these parents of that child has to say, because I'm very interested in knowing how they feel about that. And are they raising any kind of hell? Are they being polite about it? Because I won't be polite about it at all.
I feel like they did give her, this is one thing that I can appreciate about that opportunity, is that they gave her the opportunity to speak for herself. And she felt like it was her right of activism to do what she did. She did what she did because she wanted her voice to be heard. So she said what she had to say. I appreciate that, because that's who my daughter is. Like, my daughter is going to say, I said if I say it. And I have a 13-year-old, she's 14 now, I'm a 14-year-old. And last year we had an issue with a girl saying something about her natural hair, whose hair was the opposite of her natural hair. And my daughter said what she needed to say. She said, you don't have the right to project your images and your ideas of what you like on me. And it is what it is. And she walked off. The girl ended up reporting my daughter, saying that my daughter was bullying her. You know why? Because my daughter said what the F she needed to say. Yep. So one thing that I can say out of that incident is that girl said, and that was her quote, she said it was necessary trouble. So she said, go ahead, suspend me. But my name gonna go down is telling on y'all, so y'all can get y'all ish together. So
absolutely.
I don't cuss.
I know, but you know what? I appreciate her activism and that simple act of just standing on her word, on her beliefs, and on her truth, right? So I'm a huge advocate of that. I've always said that I never apologize for what I say. I'll apologize for how I say it, because I know I'm still working on the delivery part, right? So, but I mean what the hell I said, though. Oh, I said what I said for a reason. And so I appreciate and respect others who stand by that same principle, because not too many of us, stand on our own conviction, right? We oftentimes fall at the point of, well, I didn't mean to say like this. Listen, I'm not in the business of translating, insinuating, or interpreting what the hell somebody said. Damn it, you said what you said because you was right there when you said it. Stand on it. I would never apologize for how I feel. No, because that's how I feel. And that's a part of who I am. So, and even from a racist standpoint, yeah, I know, and even from a racist standpoint too. I don't accept racism. I don't accept racist people's apologies, because that's who you are. That's your makeup. That's exactly what you meant. You meant that. You felt that. All that came out of you. Right. So right. Obviously, an apology is a corrected action, right? It's a corrected behavior. If you really mean that, then you'll follow suit and do something opposite of what you did or said before, versus trying to apologize only because in the court of public opinion you got exposed of it now. So no, from that standpoint, no, I'm not gonna. I stand firm, and I appreciate and respect everybody else who stand on their convictions and their beliefs and their truths, because when you have nothing else to stand on, it's your own word and your own testament and truth. So from that standpoint, again, I want to say again, I appreciate you all for being on this particular show, on this particular episode, talking about it. We obviously have so much ground to cover when it comes to doing our parts and making sure that our kids are safely going back to schools, but not just the kids, the parents safely bringing their kids back to schools, the teachers being protected by the school district and superintendent's office, all this other stuff. We have so much to do right now, and part of me doing my part is putting this information out for everybody, for the masses, to however many people are listening. All my followers and supporters, I appreciate you all, and all the future supporters in advance. I appreciate you all for following this particular podcast, because it's all about dispersing information that needs to be put out there. We all have to play our parts in what we do, and part of my job in playing my part is bringing on people who are in these different professions, serving the people in the Black communities the best as they can. You know what I mean? We're doing our parts from our professions and making sure that our voices are being heard. It's giving that outlet or that platform to the voiceless, because too often we hear, and this is no slight to Black celebrities, but Black celebrities oftentimes get all the credit and all the recognition, when we're the ones who are in the trenches, on the front lines, making immediate impacts and a difference in our Black communities. And so from that standpoint, I want to always make sure I'm recognizing those who are making a difference from their profession and putting their lives on the line, obviously trying to do what they can, even from an educational standpoint, making sure that our kids are not only safely going into the schools or safely being at home with the virtual learning, but making sure that they themselves are staying safe too, because they have their own families to go back home to as teachers and staff members as well. So again, y'all, I appreciate you all for being on this show. I appreciate your insight and your informative messages being put out there. If you all have any additional information or resources of information to give to me, to give to the people, I would definitely post it on my podcast platforms, on my pages and all that good stuff too, to make sure that it's being put out there, because obviously you never know what you don't know until you don't know it. And oftentimes we tend to learn shit the hard way, and we don't need to, because there's other ways to go about learning these different things. But you have to know what you don't know and be able to articulate what you don't know to those people who actually know it in those areas. It's okay to ask questions. I have a lot of questions. I'm very inquisitive. I would expect everybody else to be that same way in regards to your own safety and the safety of your own kids too. So with that, I'm very much so humbled and appreciative of what you all have been able to give as far as information goes to this show. I'll definitely be having you all on the show again at a later time. Obviously, hopefully discussing the positives that have come out of the reopening of these schools, right? So, but if not the positives, then we definitely gonna talk about the negatives too. Talk about the reactiveness of this damn pandemic rather than the proactiveness of it. Because human beings, too often now, we're showing that we haven't learned any damn thing in the last few decades, in the last century for that matter. We're too busy making the same damn mistakes that we ain't made no new ones yet. We haven't made any new mistakes yet. We're too busy repeating the same damn mistakes that hadn't worked all this time. Damn it, don't tell me I'm wrong when the shit you're doing ain't working. I stand by that, man. I can't stress that enough, because we oftentimes want to do things our own way with no merit, with no information, no resourceful information to go by, but we just want to go off our own instinct, our own opinion, no facts, no logic, nothing. So I'm not for that. I'm for getting the truth out that needs to be said, and everybody speaking to their own personal experiences with dealing with these different issues that we're dealing with on so many different demographics of the situation. So again, I appreciate you all for being on the show. Definitely look for and let all the people you know about the podcast, particularly about this episode. They can go back and check it out once I post it. And yeah, man, we're definitely gonna keep the ball rolling, doing our parts in our communities, making sure that our Black people are safely going back to work, safely going back to school for that matter. Because in the end, if we don't have each other, ain't nobody else gonna have us. Because we already being shown that society don't give a damn about Black people. The government don't give a damn about us. So we have to give a damn enough to do our parts in our respective communities. So I want to bid you all farewell. I greatly appreciate your time. I hope you all are staying safe, staying secure, and staying sanitized. And so keep your mask on, Amia. Don't keep traveling too many places. All right.
I'm not going nowhere else.
Good, good.
Yeah.
Everybody else don't go no damn where else. If we can't all travel safely, then none of us need to be traveling at all.
You right.
So.
Appreciate it.
All right. Have a good one.
All. Yeah,
Thank
y'all
you.
Stay safe. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.